Welcome back to another episode of American Heroes Outdoors. On this week's show, we get to showcase the Patriot House Project. For 3 years now, we've worked with Smokey Hills Outdoors and Ice Castle Fish Houses to provide ice fishing opportunities to heroes and their families. Also, in this episode, we get to take a look back at some of the Shields Hometown Heroes episodes that we've done in the past on our Shields Hometown Heroes trip down memory lane. So join us as we continue to share the stories of our nation's true heroes while helping them heal in the great outdoors.
American Heroes Outdoors shares the stories of our nation's true heroes, a documentation of journey, commitment, struggle, and healing, a glimpse into the sacrifice and bravery of our service men and women.
There he is, baby. There he is.
This is American Heroes Outdoors.
So at the beginning of every day, either a Smokey Hills employee or a volunteer from the American Legion will come out, make sure the holes are open, the heat's on, the floors are dry, the fish house is basically ready to be fished in and go for the day. From there, us at the store will make sure that the customers get the keys and a nice bag of bait to get them out on the water and a cost-free day basically.
Checking in at the Park Rapids location Patriot House today is Dr. Matthew Beacom, Steve Foster, and their guests all the way from Omaha, Nebraska.
I've always tried to kind of do some bonding trips with my kids. I have 5 kids, but make memories. That's always my plan. How can we make memories? You can buy a lot of gadgets, play a lot of video games, but when I'm gone, what are they going to remember? And my 4th child, Mattson, has really taken a liking to fishing. He's never been ice fishing. He'd kind of done a lot of talking in and around Christmas time. Everything on his list was like, I want a bait caster, I want a tackle box, I want this, I want that. And so overwhelmed both physically and emotionally by COVID, I thought, you know what? Sitting in an ice hut with my 14-year-old making some memories sounds so good right now. If we don't catch a single fish, this is still a wonderful, wonderful trip. Already today, he's caught his first northern bite.
Pretty decent.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, slow down. There we go.
Oh,
There you go.
look at
Looky there. What do you think of that? Oh, I love it.
He's got a lot of panfish off the docks back home, but never a pike, right? So I think he's going to have memories, and as a father, that means a ton to me. So this trip, the opportunity to be here is just overwhelming.
Just a little bit. Yeah. He likes it. When he eats the wax worm, pull up. Reel. Right here. Get it right there. Deal, reel. Keep going. Reel. Keep going. Look at that one. Yeah. I'll unhook him quick here.
he got me.
Hey, you got him.
It's awesome to see him, swing through and just see the excitement of what the day is to come or what, brought him out on the day.
Dad, how he found Park Rapids area, he and his father used to come up to North Dakota and buy horses in the Fargo area. And then when they'd sell the horses, they'd come over here and go fishing. And so that's how he learned about the Park Rapids area. Dad just passed away here 2 years ago at 99 and a half. He was a World War II veteran. He has Bronze Star, the Silver Star, Purple Heart. And he didn't talk very much about the war. It was very sensitive to him. But some of his stories, as a matter of fact, we didn't find out a lot about him till after his death. I found a box. And but some of the stories that he shared with me is one time he was in a battle and he jumped in the foxhole, and there was a German officer in that same foxhole. Dad was very instrumental in the Battle of Augsburg. That's where he received his Bronze Star from. And we found this little patch that had like a polar bear on it. They researched the patch, and they found out that my dad was one of the 24 guys in, I think it was called the Polar something, where they chose 24 guys, and they were in Alaska, and they would go and steal Japanese ammunition, ski them down in, and hide them in caves at the Aleutian Islands. My dad was the last survivor, and at his funeral was presented with a plaque, from him being the last survivor of that group. He was quite a war veteran, very patriotic, so he would think this was amazing. He would think this was really cool.
This house is available for current service members, veterans, law enforcement, EMT, firefighters, firefighter volunteers. And we really wanted to put something out there that gives back to people that sacrifice a lot and give us our freedoms. And this is a project that I really, really hoped would grow to where maybe in another year or two we have 5 houses out there available for people to use, and then 10 houses with a centralized booking system so it's easier for people to be able to do it and really grow the awesome sport of being out on the ice fishing and getting together, telling stories. And we've got some great people working on this project, and I think it can be a reality if everybody kind of comes together to do something great that's bigger than themselves.
A good bulk of my training came through government and military. So as part of the accelerated training program, right away I was in the VA Medical Center working with veterans, and also had the great fortune of working at Erling Berquist Hospital down in Bellevue, which is part of Offutt Air Force Base and Strategic Air Command. The Air Force made a dual residency program, and it was really set up to help get their residents that were active duty military some experiences in the civilian world as well. So the people they were treating weren't just in that pool of active duty patients. When you think about it, there aren't a lot of active duty folks who are having heart attacks or strokes. You have to leave there to get into the patient base to see certain parts of medicine. The other piece is farm safety. As a kind of a rural kid growing up, I've always been interested in farm safety, have had a farm safety nonprofit of my own for the last 20 years, and I consult for the University of Nebraska Medical Center. I'm their director of rural health. COVID is a nightmare for me. I've been a consultant for the long-term care industry. As director of rural health, one of my passions were the nursing homes, and got involved very early in helping try to keep COVID at bay in the nursing homes with testing protocols. We would go in and help them set up ways to do testing and screening and set up zones, red zones, yellow zones, green zones, to try to keep their patients safe. I was honored to be parts of those types of things.
We've caught a handful of bluegills today, a couple perch. We've had some nice pike and bass swim by the camera. So we're definitely keeping them busy. Nothing but awesome feedback. Everyone's more than grateful and gracious for the opportunity, that's been given to them for a nice comfy stay out on the lake for the day.
No, this is my first time ice fishing.
What do you think about it?
It's pretty fun, especially when you got this big ice castle to stay in. I was kind of leery of the ice, 2 foot of ice holding all this stuff up. It's kind of crazy. It's really cool.
For me, a lot of different things come together after a hard year. This kind of experience, for me, it brings back, we need to respect each other. When the masks are off, see a smile. When you look in their eyes, look for a smile, and understand that getting rid of the anger and the hatred, getting the opportunity to say thank you, like this project, thanking veterans, thanking Steve's dad, I think we need to find the good in people. And I tried to make a conscious effort for the new year to find some positive with the virus. And I've made some new friends that I never would have made if this virus didn't happen. Had some wonderful opportunities. And quite frankly, I don't know that I would have taken the time to slow down and spend this weekend with my son if it weren't for it. So I'm just trying to, if this opportunity helps us encourage everyone to embrace the opportunities to have a more positive attitude and be a little more kind. I think it was a weekend well worth it, and I can't say thank you enough for the opportunity. This has been a lot of fun.
American Heroes Outdoors is brought to you by Shields, Disabled American Veterans of Minnesota, Smoky Hills Outdoor Store, Skeeter Boats, Woodland Resort, Otter Tail Lakes Country, Yamaha, Ice Castle Fish Houses, S&S Promotional Group, and Wheelers Point Resort. Interested in supporting our mission at American Heroes Outdoors? Go to AmericanHeroesOutdoors.com to nominate your very own hero or drop a donation to support our nation's true heroes.
Welcome back to the show. Looking back at 2021, this year with the Patriot House Project has been truly special. You know, with the current environment that we're operating in, we really didn't know what we were going to do going into our third year with the Patriot House Project. But getting together with Smoky Hills Outdoors and Hendry and the crew, we figured that we had to do it. People are trying to find ways to get in the outdoors. People are trying to find ways to create new memories. So we added the PatriotHouseProject.com website, and we added another house to our repertoire. So we had one house in Park Rapids and 2 in Detroit Lakes. Through word of mouth, local organizations and community members, we were able to fill those houses up almost every day throughout the season for just about 2 months. We had over 130 heroes and their family members go through our Patriot House Project, and that's pretty exciting. Doing a recap and kind of looking back, there's some things that we're going to improve on next year. We're looking forward to providing some of the same opportunities that we provided in the winter in the summer for heroes and their families to use our Ice Castle fish houses in the summertime as campers. They have running water and they have everything that you'd need to enjoy the outdoors in all seasons. One of the pretty cool testimonials comes from a good friend and huge veteran advocate, Randy Tesdall. Randy's been involved in Minnesota outdoor veterans programs for over a decade. American Legion, State Adjutant, and various programs out of Camp Ripley. He had the opportunity to come out, hang out with the Patriot Houses, and tell us a little bit more about what he thought about what we had going on and some of the stuff that's going on throughout the state.
There's so many people involved in how these veteran outdoor events began to expand. Now I'm retired and I'm sitting back and I'm seeing you guys, American Heroes Outdoors is coming up, and all these other groups that are doing great things for vets. And it's so cool. It's just really neat to watch a place where it wasn't about me. It's about what can I do for the vets and step out of the camera light. And that's what you guys did right off the bat. You did that so well. The stewardship that you guys and other organizations have brought to the table in this whole environment of providing outdoor opportunities to veterans. I mean, to be able to, first of all, fish out of a wheelhouse that we spent 2 nights in, it was pretty cool. And then to have the opportunity to take my son with. My son and I did a lot of ice fishing when he was younger, but as an adult, we'd only been ice fishing, I think, 1 time. We went out up on Mille Lacs. And there's another thing about the house. It's fully outfitted for fishing. I mean, you got a Vexilar in there for veterans to use. You've got a camera in there, Vexilar camera in there as well for veterans to use. And so everything you need is there. So we walked in, I put the camera down, turned it on, and right off, a big bluegill come by. But then as soon as the sun went down, the crappies came in. and they were nice crappies. They were all, I mean, we caught a few 8s and 7s, 9s, but the crappies we went home with, we each went home with 10, our limit, and they were really nice, respectable 9.5, 10-inch crappies. We caught a few 11s and we put a 12 back, so yeah. This was crazy cool. It was just really neat to be able to do that. It's a great experience.
We're sharing more stories on our social media pages. Shields Hometown Heroes, Sunday Service Spotlight, and more. Help us share more stories of our servicemen and women.
Now it's time for the Shields Hometown Hero.
At American Heroes Outdoors, it's truly about the stories that we get to share. Whether those stories are in the woods or on the water, or just sitting around a fire like this, it's stories of service and sacrifice that set us apart. So joining up with Shields to create Shields Hometown Heroes a couple years ago was a perfect fit. Over the past 2 years, we've been able to create over 25 stories of service and sacrifice of people in their communities that served either in law enforcement, as a first responder, in the military, and are still serving today. These are true stories of small town USA people, and it's really been an honor. So today, we're going to take a trip down memory lane and revisit some of our best Shields Hometown Heroes yet.
Welcome to Shields Hometown Heroes.
Shields Hometown Heroes is a way for us to say thanks
to those that serve our country and our community
and are still giving back to others today.
We honor your service by sharing your stories.
From all of us at Shields, thank you for your service.
I always wanted to join the military, but then when I was 17, I had a recruiter in the house. My side of the papers were signed, but then since it was shortly after Desert Storm, Desert Shield, like my mom came in and said, no, it's not happening. Kicked the recruiter out. You know, just getting in nature, you get to, forget, daily life for a while. If you do it enough, then you're able to get on with life.
My name is Mark Howley. I was born outside of the country, and I was raised in the United States from the time that I was a baby. And I always knew that, though. I always knew that I was adopted. I always knew that I was from Colombia. And I also was raised with a lot of just pride of ownership and also gratitude, too. So I think it was out of that gratitude that I felt that I wanted to do something to repay the United States for all the opportunities that have been given me. And that's why I decided to join the Marines.
You asked my wife what I am. I'm a public servant. That's what I do. I've been very successful in just about everything I've done, and I need to give that to some. I need to give that opportunity to other people. It's what makes me tick, I guess. I can't put a figure on it. It's just how it works for me.
My name is Janie Scala. I was born in Devils Lake, North Dakota. I moved to Fargo when I was 6 years old, and this has become my home since then. I have complex chronic PTSD. What that means is chronic is ongoing. So it's not like one day I have it and one day I don't. Complex means it's from several traumas. So I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, and there was lots of incidents there that happened. So that's where the PTSD comes from.
When I was 12 years old running the farm, I decided there ought to be something better than the hot, humid climate of Kansas. So I went in the living room one day waiting for dinner to be served and looked at this fancy book about the mountains of Colorado in the Northwest and what it would be like to be a ranger. That's for me, I said.
I was born in Mankato, and I grew up and was raised in St. James, Minnesota. Back then we liked to go out and play Army out in the yard, and it kind of just stuck, and it was something I knew I wanted to do. And as soon as I was able to, I went in and enlisted in the Army National Guard here in Minnesota.
I enlisted a couple days after my 18th birthday as a helicopter repairman, attended basic training at Fort McClellan, advanced individual training at Fort Rucker. After a couple years of going out on test flights and encouragement from pilots, I went to flight school.
I grew up down in Canton, South Dakota, a small town about 20 miles south of Sioux Falls. Grew up around flying around airplanes. My dad flew skydivers for years in a skydiving club, and he was also a charter commercial pilot for a while before he started the family business. My grandfather on my mom's side was a pilot during World War II. He was a civilian flight instructor.
So that's where the flying bug came from. So I kind of grew up around airplanes and
Born and raised in Dilworth. Grew up in Dilworth, Minnesota. Been there the majority of my life, and proud to say that that's my hometown. I deployed to Bosnia. I was in Bosnia as a part of Operation S414, where we did security patrols, a lot of community engagement.
Born and raised Little Falls. Lived here my whole life. I actually just recently moved to Rice about 3 years ago. Still really local. Still work out at camp.
Did you go into the service right out of school?
About 2 years after, 2010.
Okay.
Yep.
Army?
Yep.
Awesome.
Army National Guard.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yep.
Where have you served, or where have you been deployed?
Deployed to Kuwait, there for about 11 and a half months. We ran missions through Iraq, kind of bring everything home.
Say, where are you from? I usually just say around here, because I'm Ada and Valley City, so I'm from this area for sure. And so when I was growing up, my dad is a police officer, godfather as the sheriff, and another godfather as a game warden. It was like, I better be good.
Hi, I'm Lyle Sinclair with the Bismarck Police Department, Bismarck, North Dakota. I'm currently a patrol supervisor in charge of our canine program.
That guy, come out of the woods! We'll send my dog, he's gonna bite you!
I got out of boot camp. Well, I went in August, September, October. About the later part of October, I got into Camp Pendleton. When I got on board ship, I got on with one of the Navy Seabees.
Family life was mom and dad, and there was 5 boys in the family. My hero? A lot of people. There's not just one. It's too hard for me. Every officer, there's names on the wall. Every pin that I have in that plaque, their families. Several of our Special Olympic athletes. My wife, my kids, my dad. Not any just one person.
Well, that brings us to the end of another show, and it truly was a trip down memory lane. As you look back and see the stories that we've shared and the lives that we've touched, it's a great experience and it's fun to be a part of. And join us next week as we head over to Ottertail County in Minnesota to find our inner otter. Thank you for taking the time to join us on American Heroes Outdoors as we continue our mission.